Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. It is Friday, February 21st, 2014, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's what's coming up tonight.
Tonight,
a free press is also essential for our democracy. Our freedom as a nation rests on our freedom of the press.
Obama publicly claims he's all about the freedom of press, but his administration wants the FCC to monitor newsrooms. Meanwhile, the politics of late-night television infiltrate the mainstream. And riot police in the Ukraine sew up a protester's mouth with thread. All that and more up next on the Infowars Nightly News.
This is a radical new era of tyranny for the White House. I can't imagine it getting to first base.
That was Judge Andrew Napolitano speaking about the Obama administration's latest efforts to have the feds come and police newsrooms. That's right, Mr. Obama, who is constantly saying how important a free press is to freedom and democracy. Well, in his typical doublespeak fashion, the White House ordered the FCC to go in and monitor how newsrooms are reporting their news, which of course is an absolute affront to the First Amendment. Basically, you know, with this new proposal, editors and broadcasters would worry about covering certain issues due to fear of any government retribution, because, of course, you have to have certain licenses by the FCC in order to air. And Napolitano was saying that, you know, we're basically going to be afraid to express ourselves fully because federal agents are going to be looking over your shoulder. And then, of course, he did caution that this idea could take on because it's going to initially be introduced as a voluntary situation. But then he added that nothing is voluntary with the government. Now, the FCC claims that content won't be moderated by the feds, although the actual proposal document does refer to the influencing of philosophy and viewpoint. Now, as of the time of this broadcast, the FCC has taken a step back. They said they're not going to send anyone to the newsrooms for now. But can you just imagine how much more propaganda would be coming out of the mainstream media? They already get their talking points straight from the White House anyway, and anyone who kind of dares step over the line, now they're basically being warned and threatened that they're going to be monitored to make sure that they can comply with Obama's agenda. Now, it's obvious that this is going to be sent out to target organizations that are critical of the Obama administration, any kind of conservative media outlets, just like they targeted the Tea Partiers with the IRS, and much like they fired Jay Leno. He was one of the only late-night talk shows where the GOP felt they had a welcome mat rolled out for them. And here, you know, Jay Leno was at the top of his game. It definitely wasn't his ratings. He was just canned and replaced with Jimmy Fallon, who makes no bones about being an Obama supporter. He's the guy who had Obama doing slow jams with Jimmy Fallon. And now this week, his first week airing, he has Michelle Obama rolls out Miss Obama, who he says, you know, they have great chemistry, to make jokes about Obamacare and stuff. So, of course, this is just basically changing the political landscape for late night TV. Leno, who wrote all of his own jokes, was just a little too much, got a little, you know, made a little too much fun of Obama and his politics and Obamacare. He'll be replaced now with Jimmy Fallon. So this, of course, is just more proof of how this liberal agenda is going to be shoved down your throats no matter what. He's going to push his agenda, and if you are one of those people who just refuses to peel your eyes away from the mainstream media and whatever it is they flash in front of you, then you're basically just going to kind of be duped by this whole scheme. But maybe the FCC can get in and help Coach Piers Morgan on his ratings. His anti-gun stance is probably the only reason why he is still on the air, of course, because he's pushing the Obama administration's gun control agenda. But it's certainly not his ratings. Variety reports that since gun control has become a frequent topic on Piers Morgan's show, his ratings, which were never that great anyway, to be sure, have plummeted. Now they're falling below the 300,000 mark multiple times already this year. But Piers, Alex Jones told you, you're not going to take our guns. And now that you're continually pushing this anti-gun stance, your ratings are plummeting. You got that, you red coat? I mean, you're not going to come here and convince Americans to give up their guns. It just doesn't even make sense. And do you really think that now, I mean, looking at what's going on in the Ukraine, do you really think that it's absurd to think that the people might at some point need to take out a corrupt government? You know, you kind of made a little joke about that. But here, I mean, just tell that to the protesters in Kiev who have had to take up arms. Basically, they've done whatever they could, makeshift weaponry to take out their people that are in power there. And now they're basically being told that if they don't play ball with the globalists, they're going to be killed.
You're so I hope that I am wrong. You don't suppose that you have martial You have the army. You will be dead.
That was the Polish minister telling the Ukrainian protest leader that if they didn't go ahead and sign this agreement to end the occupation of Independence Square in Kiev, that martial law would be enacted and everyone would be killed. Now, in a Twitter post, Sikorsky characterized a deal reached between the demonstrators and the Ukrainian government as a good compromise for Ukraine, gives peace a chance, opens the way for reform and to Europe. Poland and EU support it. The deal includes a pledge by the Ukrainian president to hold elections and a promise to include the opposition in a new government. Now, according to the German government, leaders of the Maidan movement have agreed to sign this agreement. Now, these are, of course, the same sort of words that were uttered by George W. Bush right before he threatened America with martial law if we didn't sign over trillions of dollars to the globalists, to the big banksters. And then now we, of course, see how that has fared for all of us. We haven't been repaid, and our children's children are in debt, and we continue on the downward spiral. Meanwhile, the U.S. government has admitted to supporting this Ukrainian protest by giving them $5 billion to get this little revolution going. And how are the protesters faring there? Well, the International Business Times reports that a protester was admitted to the hospital after having his mouth sewn shut with a shoemaker's thread by the riot police. That is, it's just a disgusting visual there. But other reports of extreme torture have emerged out of Kiev. I mean, this is real tyranny these people are dealing with. They've got actual snipers taking out protesters there in Independence Square. I mean, this is what tyranny looks like, folks. But as bad as all of this is looking for the people that are just fighting for their freedom, they have really shown us here in America just how powerful the people can be when they stand up. I mean, before some of the protesters broke into the armory and got actual weapons, they were using makeshift weaponry, bats and clubs and trebuchets and slingshots. And look at how far they were able to go. They took an agreement all the way to the government. They demanded some action. And this is why your government wants to take your guns from you, America. This is why your local police force looks like they're gearing up for war with Iraq, because they know how powerful we, the people, are. They know that if we just organize, if we get together, if we demand that it's time to throw out this corrupt government, when we rise up, and we will win. Now, coming up after the break, we'll tell you just about one of these elected officials that's breaking all the laws he's making for you.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive Infowars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the Info War at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Well, this story is about Mayor Do As I Say, Not As I Do de Blasio. The mayor's caravan was caught on camera committing multiple traffic violations just days after he announced his really aggressive plan to crack down on traffic violations. Thursday, the mayor's 2-car caravan was seen speeding, blowing through stop signs, and violating other traffic laws that would have equaled a license suspension for the average man. The grand total for all of the violations de Blasio's caravan committed was 13. So it only takes about 11 points for a person to get their license suspended. Now, the mayor announced his 62-point Safe Streets initiative, which includes lowering the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. Meanwhile, his caravan was caught going 45 miles per hour. He said, "We want the public to know that we are holding ourselves to this standard." Right, by blowing through stop signs and going 30, 40 miles over the speed limit. Now, the NYPD released a statement suggesting that the traffic procedures by the mayor's security detail may have been necessary. You know, the police department personnel that are assigned to the mayor's security detail receive specialized training in driving based on maintaining security as well as safety. Right. See, it's okay when they do it. It's all right for Bloomberg to have the guns, but you can't have the guns. I mean, you don't need them. And then later that day, or earlier on his way to the gym, de Blasio was caught jaywalking. A reporter was trying to talk to him about breaking all of these traffic violations, and he was like, "I got to go to the gym," as he's on his cell phone jaywalking. So just proof the laws are not meant for them. I mean, granted, wasn't he just an average citizen before he was elected mayor? I don't know, probably always a criminal. But the laws are for the slaves. He sure didn't get treated like this young lady on UT Austin campus. A photographer caught the exact moment that she was grabbed by cops for jaywalking and failure to identify. The witness said that he saw she was just crossing the road with earbuds in her ears and didn't hear the cops calling out for her. How dare that slave think that she can just jog and not obey the orders. Now, this girl weighs no more than $120, but it took 4 big burly police officers to arrest her and make an example out of her. And here she's pleading, saying, "I was just jogging. I wasn't doing anything wrong." And the police, the UT Austin police, said that there was no initiative to crack down on jaywalking. So for whatever reason, they decided to get really aggressive with this girl. But this is, of course, just one more example of how this police state apparatus is encroaching into our everyday lives. Everything we do now is thought crime or can get us ticketed or arrested. Here, the girl, she was running and she was grabbed from behind, from the side by the cops. And so she jerked away, and that's where the cops were saying she was resisting. And I mean, being a female, if I'm jogging and someone grabs me, I'm going to run faster or jerk away. But, you know, you can't do that when you are a slave. Now, of course, de Blasio, he'll break laws with impunity, but you and I, we must obey, especially if you want to vote. And while you thought criminals are out there voting for the next mayor of your city, don't think you can just roll up to the voting booth with your First Amendment intact, especially when that involves expressing your position on the Second Amendment. Chris Driscoll was prevented from voting at the Waller County Courthouse in Texas on Tuesday after officials claimed he was violating Texas Election Code Section 85.036, which states that a person may not electioneer for or against any candidate, measure, or political party in or within 100 feet of a voting location. Now, the officials used the election law to throw Driscoll out of the voting booth, even though the shirt simply stated Second Amendment 1789, America's original homeland security. This was on the front without any mention of a political candidate or proposition. So again, here we have a simple attack on free speech and voting rights through the color of law, as well as just another example of this continued need to demonize gun owners and to try and brainwash people into accepting an infringement on their rights, be it their First Amendment right, their Second Amendment right. It's chaos. Don't fall into this Obama agenda. And instead of falling for Obama's gun-grabbing scheme, show your support for your God-given right to defend yourself. Pick up one of these Molon Labe t-shirts, and you know what? Wear it into the voting booth. Wear it in to go vote. And if they kick you out, get it on video and send it in, because that is going to be a sensational story. Whatever happened to our First Amendment rights, especially at the voting booth? It just doesn't make sense. Now, stick around, because David Knight is going to have a very special report about the drug Paxil. It's being given to women who are going through breast cancer treatment, but it has some very bizarre side effects. And no, I'm not just talking about being an SSRI. It's actually much worse than that. And then we're going to have an excerpt from the interview with Alex Jones. Jerome Corsi was on the show today speaking about the top military purge by the Obama administration. Stick around.
The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula, sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by Infowars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality. InfoWarsLife.com.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. And the Infowars army is standing strong. Wake up your family, friends, and neighbors and break the matrix at InfoWarsStore.com. Learn the truth and spread the message of liberty with the world's most comprehensive collection of books and documentary films. Maintain a healthy metabolism and energize your body to perform at peak health with Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Protect your family and be prepared with survival foods and emergency preparedness kits. And now you can drink safe water with your own ProPure water filtration system, which removes fluoride and other harmful chemicals from your family's water supply. Save 10% with the promo code WATER. So join the revolution. InfoWarsStore.com.
Now, we've reported the connection that SSRIs have with mass murder, But what's the connection between SSRIs and cancer? David Knight has more.
The popular antidepressant Paxil, we now learn, greatly increases the risk of breast cancer. The LA Times reports that a team of researchers has developed a speedy way to identify drugs and chemicals that can disrupt the balance of sex hormones in human beings and influence the development and progress of diseases like breast cancer. The new study singled out the popular antidepressant paroxetine, better known by its commercial name Paxil. Now, Paxil's been on the market since 1992. Almost a quarter of American women in their 40s and 50s are taking an antidepressant, mostly SSRIs. And you might suspect that women who have cancer would be much more likely to be depressed and to be given this drug as a solution. Now, the article points out that there was also a 2010 study that found that breast cancer patients in Canada who were taking Paxil were much more likely than those taking other antidepressants to die of breast cancer when there was a substantial overlap in their use of the drug and tamoxifen to prevent breast cancer recurrence. Big Pharma won't tell you this, but one of the best treatments for depression is walking. Walking doesn't just improve your mental health, it helps your physical health as well. But pharmaceuticals often destroy your mental and physical health. Not only does Paxil's estrogen effect increase cancer risk and mortality, but Paxil is in a class of drugs known as SSRI. Infowars has reported for years that SSRI antidepressants like Prozac, Zoloft, and Paxil have not just made people suicidal, as the drug manufacturers are forced to admit, but has made them homicidal. Documented cases going back to the 1980s show the common thread in mass murders is that the murderer is often on SSRIs.
Knives, bats, rocks, kill many times more.
Alex, let's talk about the guns.
It's not the rock. It's not the knife. When a mother chops her kids up with a cleaver because she's on serotonin.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Why don't you want to get rid of the drugs? Because they're half your sponsors?
No, stick to the subject.
America's #1 cause of unnatural death now is suicide. Okay.
Alex,
not automobile accident, not cancer, not...
You accuse me of attacking the Second Amendment of the Constitution.
I want to get people off pills that the insert says will make you commit suicide and kill people.
But now we have one more reason for you to stay off or to keep your loved ones off of this dangerous class of drugs. If the public won't listen to the documented link between suicide, between mass murder and these pills, maybe they will pay attention to another, more subtle form of mass murder: cancer-inducing pharmaceuticals.
Well, over the last year, we have seen a major purging of top military brass. Well, today, Jerome Corsi came on the Alex Jones Show to discuss the Obama administration's involvement.
So much happening. So, A, thanks for coming on. B, you've been studying this from every angle, and WorldNet Daily has the connections to the generals. You've been interviewing them along with Mr. Malouf. What's really going on?
Well, I spoke to General Boykin very recently, and there's no doubt that the Obama administration is purging the military. I mean, the replacement of generals is at an all-time high. I think there were something like 8 generals who were replaced. This is generals and flag officers replaced last year. I think there were 4 in the first term of Obama, and the pace is accelerating. The replacements that bother me the most are the ones you mentioned. There's 2 categories that bother me the most. One is these replacements over Benghazi, starting with General Ham, who, of course, was in charge of the African command. And General Ham, from the beginning, was critical, saying that we could have gotten reinforcements to Benghazi in time. And then was also replaced General Baker, who headed one of the task forces in Africa and claimed that we could have gotten helicopter relief to the consulate or to the Benghazi compound.
Of course.
During the surge. And then the next round of replacements and pressure seems to be on any military with traditional values. In other words, expressing positive belief in God or not accepting the LGBT agenda.
And we have the memos. They say if you're an evangelical or part of the Tea Party, you could be brought up on court-martial.
Yes, right, exactly. I mean, it's the pressure now is that anyone who holds traditional values, believing in the Constitution, including the First Amendment rights of religion, is suspect as a hater or as a denier of the rights of the LGBT community. I mean, it's really turning the Constitution on its head. such that the military is being placed into a bind where profession of Christian beliefs is going to be detrimental to career advancement. And that's fundamental to the reason we have the First Amendment, is that people who are, we should as citizens be able to enjoy, including in the military, constitutional rights, including the freedom to believe and express your religion.
Sure. I mean, they're trying to dominate reality, taking the majority of the American people and then just listing us as extremist or terrorist. And then we're all supposed to just sing from their sheet of music. And we can laugh at this, but it's not a laughing matter when they're purging almost the entire nuclear force. And I think there's more to it than just the political correctness. They are, I think they're thinking about a long-term coup of the government itself, more of a soft coup. Not that Obama would stay in office. It's just that they're getting all their judges, all their operatives in. So there's a coup of the bureaucracy, even more than there already has been.
Well, clearly there's a major reduction in the U.S. military capacity to wage war to defend the country. I mean, I don't think we could today launch a two operations war as we did under George W. Bush. Certainly not if the wars were in different theaters. I don't see how it's possible. The military has been so reduced in capability. The training has not occurred. We have reduced forces across the board in every one of the major services, fewer airplanes, fewer naval ships, just a reduction in force in general. And the American people are unaware of it. I mean, it's a leveling down of the power of the United States, where whoever follows Obama is going to face a military that reminds me of a pre-World War I military in the United States, just completely incapable of being a major military force in the world. And China, at the same time, is ramping up, expressing, belligerent intent in various controversies with Japan. And our Pacific Fleet is again in a diminished position.
Thank you so much for tuning into the show tonight. Now, please go to Prison Planet TV and become a subscriber. You'll help support this operation, and you'll also get instant access to the Alex Jones Show, the nightly news, all of our special reports, movies, the rants. It's all with unlimited instant streaming. And of course, as always, you can share your username and password with up to 11 other people. Now, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you here again Monday at 7 p.m. Central.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. And the Infowars army is standing strong. Wake up your family, friends, and neighbors and break the matrix at InfoWarsStore.com. Learn the truth and spread the message of liberty with the world's most comprehensive collection of books and documentary films. Maintain a healthy metabolism and energize your body to perform at peak health with Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Protect your family and be prepared with survival foods and emergency preparedness kits. And now you can drink safe water with your own ProPure water filtration system, which removes fluoride and other harmful chemicals from your family's water supply. Save 10% with the promo code WATER. So join the revolution. InfoWarsStore.com.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcodes with up to 11 other people, and your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.
Now. But can you just imagine how much more propaganda would be coming out of the mainstream media? They already get their talking points straight from the White House anyway, and anyone who kind of dares step over the line, now they're basically being warned and threatened that they're going to be monitored to make sure that they can comply with Obama's agenda. Now, it's obvious that this is going to be sent out to target organizations that are critical of the Obama administration, any kind of conservative media outlets, just like they targeted the Tea Partiers with the IRS, and much like they fired Jay Leno. He was one of the only late-night talk shows where the GOP felt they had a welcome mat rolled out for them. And here, you know, Jay Leno was at the top of his game. It definitely wasn't his ratings. He was just canned and replaced with Jimmy Fallon.
Ukraine sew up a protester's mouth with thread. All that and more up next on the Infowars Nightly News.
This is a radical new era of tyranny for the White House. I can't imagine it getting to first base.
That was Judge Andrew Napolitano speaking about the Obama administration's latest efforts to have the feds come and police newsrooms. That's right, Mr. Obama, who is constantly saying how important a free press is to freedom and democracy. Well, in his typical doublespeak fashion, the White House ordered the FCC to go in and monitor how newsrooms are reporting their news, which of course is an absolute affront to the First Amendment. Basically, you know, with this new proposal, welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. It is Friday, February 21st, 2014, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's what's coming up tonight.
Tonight,
a free press is also essential for our democracy. Our freedom as a nation rests on our freedom of the press.
Obama publicly claims he's all about the freedom of press, but his administration wants the FCC to monitor newsrooms. Meanwhile, the politics of late-night television infiltrate the mainstream, and riot police in the
who makes no bones about being an Obama supporter. He's the guy who had Obama doing slow jams with Jimmy Fallon, and now this week, his first week airing, he has Michelle Obama rolls out Miss Obama, who he says, you know, they have great chemistry, to make jokes about Obamacare and stuff. So of course, this is just basically changing the political landscape for late night TV. Leno, who wrote all of his own jokes, was just a little too much, got a little, you know, made a little too much fun of Obama and his politics and Obamacare. He'll be replaced now with Jimmy Fallon. So this, of course, is just more proof of how this liberal agenda is going to be shoved down your throats no matter what. He's going to push his agenda, and if you are one of those people who just refuses to, editors and broadcasters would worry about covering certain issues due to fear of any government retribution, because of course you have to have certain licenses by the FCC in order to air. And Napolitano was saying that, you know, we're basically going to be afraid to express ourselves fully because federal agents are going to be looking over your shoulder. And then, of course, he did caution that this idea could take on because it's going to initially be introduced as a voluntary situation. But then he added that nothing is voluntary with the government. Now, the FCC claims that content won't be moderated by the feds, although the actual proposal document does refer to the influencing of philosophy and viewpoint. Now, as of the time of this broadcast, the FCC has taken a step back. They said they're not going to send anyone to the newsrooms for